What real pain feels like, 9 horrors you never want to try. Let's jump right into this. Number 8. Cluster headaches, the suicide pain. Imagine someone drilling into your skull from the inside while setting your eye socket on fire. Welcome to cluster headaches, the most diabolical migraine you can't even scream through. Doctors actually call it suicide headache because people have described the pain as so unbearable they'd rather not exist than feel it again. It's a neurovascular nightmare, where blood vessels around your trigeminal nerve constrict and dilate like a sadistic metronome. The pain usually hits one side of the face, peaking within minutes, and can last up to 3 hours. Here's the fun part. It comes in clusters, meaning it repeats, sometimes daily, for weeks. There's no warning, no cure, and no mercy. Oxygen therapy or certain medications can dull it, but for many, the only relief is waiting for the fire in their skull to die down on its own. The worst part? The brain doesn't even register it as injury pain. There's no damage, just pure, senseless suffering. It's like your nervous system decided to cosplay as Satan for a month. Number 7. Childbirth, the original horror mode. You know a pain is serious when half the species goes through it, and still, no one can describe it without swearing. Childbirth isn't just pain, it's a 12-hour exorcism that ends with applause. During labor, the uterus contracts with the force of a medieval torture rack, squeezing nerves, organs, and sometimes dignity. It's so intense that the brain releases endorphins strong enough to rival morphine because otherwise, the human species would have gone extinct out of sheer refusal. Interestingly, women's brains actually forget the worst parts of the pain afterward. Psychologists call it selective amnesia. Without it, nobody would ever say the words, "let's have another." Evolution is basically gaslighting you into reproduction. So yes, technically, childbirth is the most painful miracle you'll ever experience. The baby cries, you cry, and your nervous system quietly fills out the complaint form to God. Number 6. Kidney stones, tiny rocks, massive regret. If childbirth is a war, kidney stones are guerrilla warfare. They're small, sometimes the size of a grain of sand, but they cause pain so intense that grown adults have literally passed out mid-bathroom trip. When a stone moves through the urinary tract, it scrapes the walls like sandpaper dipped in lava. The pain radiates from your back to your groin, often in waves that make you question every glass of milk you've ever had. And because it's a slow crawl through a tiny tube, the suffering can last for hours or days. Doctors say it's one of the only pains comparable to giving birth. Except there's no cute baby at the end, just a pebble you'd gladly throw at the sundae. Dehydration, high salt, and too much animal protein can all contribute to forming them. Basically, your body looked at your diet and decided to build a rock collection inside you out of spite. When the pain finally ends, you don't celebrate. You just sit there in stunned silence, wondering how a pebble managed to defeat your entire sense of masculinity. Number 5. Burns when your skin screams. Burns are the universe's way of saying, touch that again, I dare you. Whether it's a hot pan, boiling water, or your attempt to fix a toaster while it's plugged in, the sensation is immediate and unforgettable. Your skin has pain receptors called nociceptors that detect extreme temperature. But when you get burned, they don't just signal pain. They signal Mayday. The nerve endings literally get fried, flooding your brain with messages that something has gone terribly, terribly wrong. First-degree burns? Annoying. Second-degree burns? Blistery regret. Third-degree burns? Congratulations, you've bypassed pain entirely because the nerves themselves are gone. Which sounds merciful, until you realize that means you've lost part of your body's alarm system. Psychologically, burn pain is primal. Your brain associates it with immediate threat, fire, danger, death. That's why people instinctively yank their hand back before even processing what happened. The reflex is faster than thought, faster than fear. It's survival in raw form. And the smell of burnt skin? That's your own body's way of making sure you never forget. Number 4. Tooth nerve pain, the tiny terror. Nothing ruins your week faster than a toothache that laughs in the face of painkillers. There's something uniquely evil about dental pain. It's small, localized, and somehow capable of hijacking your entire consciousness. Inside your teeth are tiny tunnels called dentinal tubules, filled with microscopic nerve endings. When decay or trauma exposes them, every breath of air, sip of coffee, or whisper of cold wind feels like an ice pick to the brainstem. The trigeminal nerve, responsible for facial sensation, doesn't just stop at your mouth. It connects directly to areas that process fear and emotional response. That's why tooth pain makes people irrationally angry, anxious, or ready to punch drywall. And here's the kicker. Painkillers often barely touch it because the inflammation inside the tooth blocks blood flow, the very thing needed to deliver the medicine. It's like your mouth built a panic room for pain. Dentists call it referred agony. You call it, I will sell my soul if this ache stops right now. Number 3. Broken bones, nature's snap and crackle. Few things sound worse than the moment you hear your own bone snap. It's not just the pain, it's the sickening realization that your internal architecture just rage quit. When a bone breaks, nerves in the periosteum, the thin membrane covering bones, send panic signals straight to the spinal cord. Muscles around the area seize up to protect the break, making the pain sharper, deeper, and almost electric. Your body floods with adrenaline, trying to numb the damage long enough for you to crawl to safety. But as that fades, reality sets in. Even the air seems to hurt. Movement? Impossible. And every throb reminds you that you are, in fact, a fragile meat puppet held together by calcium and lies. Psychologically, it's a weird mix of horror and disbelief. People often describe hearing the snap before feeling the pain a cruel delay that lets you process your own doom in surround sound. And then, when you finally get a cast, everyone wants to sign it like your suffering is an autograph opportunity. Number 2. Trigeminal neuralgia, lightning in your face. If pain had a celebrity spokesperson, it would be trigeminal neuralgia. Doctors call it one of the most excruciating conditions known to medicine. Patients call it face lightning. It's caused by a blood vessel pressing against the trigeminal nerve near your brainstem. The result? Random, electric shock bolts of pain that shoot through your face like you're being tasered by God. It can last seconds or minutes, but those seconds feel like eternity. Eating, talking, brushing your teeth, or even feeling a breeze can trigger an attack. Imagine living in constant fear of your own face betraying you. Many sufferers become socially withdrawn or depressed, not just because of the pain, but because no one believes something that invisible could hurt that much. It's dubbed the suicide disease for a reason. Medication helps some, surgery helps a few, but for many, it's just managing random bolts of agony, hoping the next one doesn't strike during dinner. Your face, it turns out, can literally rebel against existence. Number 1. The pain of losing someone when it hurts everywhere. Not all pain comes from nerves or burns or broken bones. Some pain hits deeper, so deep your body mistakes it for physical injury. The loss of someone you love doesn't just break your heart, it confuses your entire nervous system. When grief hits, your brain activates the same regions involved in physical pain, the anterior cingulate cortex and the insula. In other words, emotional pain literally hurts. That's why heartbreak feels like your chest is caving in, your stomach twists, and you can't breathe. Your body isn't being dramatic, it genuinely thinks you've been wounded. Hormones crash, sleep disappears, and your immune system weakens. Grief turns you into a biological ghost alive, but operating on emergency power. Studies even show that people can die from broken heart syndrome, where emotional trauma causes the heart muscle to weaken, mimicking a heart attack. What makes this pain so cruel is that it doesn't heal in a straight line. There's no cast, no stitches, no magic pill. Just time, memories, and the slow rebuilding of a world that feels permanently smaller. In some twisted way, it's proof of how human we are wired to connect so deeply that losing someone feels like losing part of ourselves. It's the one pain that science can explain but never fix. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.